A lot of people have asked me on how I make my vinyl decals and how I make my shirts and so on and so forth for my business. So this video is going to tell you roughly how I do it. I'm going to show you how I do it, and I'm going to show you the equipment that I use. I'll try to make it as detailed as I can, and for anyone that's interested in what equipment I use, the type of vinyl I use, whether it's for using heat transfer to make shirts or for decals for a vehicle, the description below will have all that information. There will be links to all the equipment I use and links to the types of vinyl that I use and how and where you can get them. So let's get into this.
Okay, so right here I just have my logo brought up on here, and you're gonna see in a second what I do with it. But I lay the shirt out first, and I just take a general measurement. This is just a it's like a seamstress tape measure, kind of like spring loaded. It's pretty neat, but they're very cheap. You can get them anywhere. I'm just taking a general measurement of the size of the shirt so I can figure roughly what size I want to make this. But if you see my little cursor moving the top left corner, I'm putting in how wide I want it. You can set in the settings if you want inches, millimeters, centimeters, whatever. I have it set to inches, and so I just typed in the size I want it, and it brought it up. Now I hit the button to send to cutter, and that'll get me prepared for cutting the whole thing out. Right where I'm selecting there is mirrored and rotate. Mirror will just flip it around so it looks backwards, and whenever you're doing heat transfer vinyl, you want to mirror it, because when it cuts it out and you flip it over and lay it on the shirt, then it's going to look correct. Otherwise it's going to be backwards when you put it on the shirt. But I go back into the program here, and I just right clicked on my logo and hit duplicate, and then it makes a second one right on top of the first one. You can drag it down so that I can cut out multiples at a time. Now you can do this 100 times, but the heat transfer, the shiny side goes down, the dull side faces up with heat transfer. When you're using regular like decal vinyl to make stickers, things like that, it's just the opposite. And that's just the way you have to cut it because of how the transfer peels off of it. But I'm putting it in there in the vinyl cutter, locking down the rollers so that it holds it in place. And this part right here, that means there's no roller in there from top or bottom, so you want to make sure you never clamp one down in that spot. Just corrected my settings. I move it over, and then I hit the button that says origin, and once I go to the computer and hit send to or hit cut, it'll start cutting in that exact spot. And I have it set to cut speed 500 and cut pressure 100. That was just a general tip I'd gotten from somebody in the past, and so that's where I always kept it. But done cutting, unlock it and pull it out, and I'm going to start weeding this whole thing out. Fisker's cutter, it's about the best one I've found so far. I've used regular razor blades. You can pretty much use anything, but I'm in a very confined little work area down here, but it's what I have to work with, and it's worked with me so far. I mean, I did the 5 foot long by 3 foot tall decals on my enclosed trailer on this little makeshift desk I have here. But now I'm just going to start weeding this thing out. That's what it's called when you pull off the vinyl, and some vinyl weeds out very easy, some doesn't. It just really all depends on the type of vinyl you get. I've gotten really good and I've gotten really bad. I put links in the description below that'll take you right to the vinyl that I use, along with, like I mentioned, the cutter and the heat press. But you know, my logo, it has these trees here, and they're kind of like a digital pattern, so there's a lot of square edges, and you know, sometimes it's, no matter how good the vinyl is, it's it's a pain in the butt to peel out all those little spots, but you don't have to be too careful with this stuff. You can just kind of go at it, and I mean, you don't want to just tear it and tear it apart and just be extremely rough with it, because you could end up getting a crease in the vinyl if it folds over, and then when you go to press it, sometimes that crease still shows and it doesn't adhere right to the fabric. The only time I've really had an issue with that is regular like decal vinyl. I got a crease in it, and then I went to put the decal on the window for the person I made it for, and I couldn't get that crease to smooth out. So heat transfer vinyl is usually a little more pliable, and it's a lot more forgiving for the most part, as long as you get a decent brand vinyl. So like I said, I'm just weeding this part out, and it goes pretty simple for the most part. Now I got the press up to temp where I want it, 320. The 20 at the bottom was the seconds for how long you press it. A lot of people run it a little higher, a little lower maybe. I usually run it at 320, and I'll show you why and how I do it that exact way in just a second here. But I'm just laying the shirt out on it. You don't want to stretch the shirt tight, because once you stretch it tight and you get it pressed on there, then you put your vinyl on, you press your vinyl. Once you pull the shirt off, it's going to shrink back down to that size, and it's going to screw up your vinyl. So I put it on there, I pull it down for about 4 or 5 seconds to just a pre-press, they call it. It pulls all the moisture, anything out of the shirt, gets the wrinkles out of the shirt. Some guys recommend 2-3 seconds, but whatever, it's all preference. There's a million different videos online that you can look up for different ideas, different ways that people do it. This is just how I do it. So then I put the decal on there, and I press it down for about 7 seconds. And then I start to peel it off. I peel it real slow. Some vinyls are a cold peel, some are a hot peel, and some say either or. I try to always stick with the hot peel. It usually works the best for me. But anyway, 7 seconds, I peel that off. Then I put this textured paper, it's called like a textured paper. I lay that over top of it, and I press it down for another 10 seconds. And then I peel it off there, and it's good to go. I've never had an issue. They never come off.